Alright, so whenever you're working with JavaScript, be it front-end or back-end, I'm sure you make use of some sort of a third-party library. From frameworks like Angular and Express to utility libraries like Moment and Lodash, you can find these third-party libraries being used all around the community. If not for them, we would have had to create these functions and logic by ourselves. I mean, you can create your own library or even a framework, but it's tedious and complicated to maintain in the long run. The way we use these external libraries is through NPM. NPM is an online registry where you can browse different packages, and it also has a command line tool that lets you install these packages in your project. I don't really have to go on about NPM because it's almost like a standard now when it comes to managing your project dependencies, at least in the JavaScript community. You also might have come across a tool called NPX, especially if you've worked with React using the Create React app package. So while NPM manages your Node.js packages, NPX is used for executing those packages. Now you might say that you have never used NPX, but you're still able to execute packages on your system like, say, NodeMon for instance. I mean, there's something else that's happening behind the scenes, and I'll explain it to you with an example. Let me quickly create a Node.js app here. So npm init y. Say I want to install a package and use it inside this project. What we normally do is type in npm install and the package name. So let's do that. Let's install a dummy package. I'll go for a package called cowsay. The way this works is you type in cowsay inside your console followed by a message. It prints a cow along with your message inside a message bubble as if the cow is saying it. So let me just run this. Cowsay. Now you'll see that I get an error message here. The error says that it's not able to recognize this term cowsay. I mean, we just installed it inside our application. You'll be able to find it inside the pacakge.json file, and yet it's not able to recognize this term. Now, to understand why this is happening, let's take a step back. Anytime you install a package from the NPM registry, in order to run the package, you need the exact path to the executable for the package. You can think of an executable as a main file which is going to execute the intended function. So in this case, we are looking for an executable which is going to run the cowsay function. If you don't have the correct part to the file, it's obviously not going to run it. NPM by default creates links to executables. So anytime you install a package locally, like we did just now, the link to its executable is going to be created inside a particular folder. So NPM creates the links inside the bin folder which is present inside this node modules directory. You can see that we have this bin folder here. So now I can run this by passing in the path to the bin folder. So instead of running the cowsay command directly, I'll look for the executable inside the node modules folder. And now I'll run it. And yeah, you get the response and it's basically working as expected. Now your locally installed dependencies and their executables are linked inside the bin directory. For your globally installed dependencies, there's a bin directory as well, at least for the Linux based systems. For Windows systems, I believe it's inside the app data folder. So now whenever you don't pass in any path in your command, your operating system assumes that you are running a globally installed package. It tries to look for the executable in the bin folder, the global one. If there is a global install available, it will run it. Else you get the same error that we got over here. So in my system, I already have NodeMon installed globally. So I can show you this. And I'll run the pacakge.json file. You can see that it works even without me passing the actual paths to the executable. This means that NodeMon is installed globally. Now, if it would have been installed locally, I would not be able to use it directly. I'll then again have to refer to the path that we saw over here. We can actually simulate this for our local installs as well. So inside my scripts here, I can simply add a cowsay script. And this script is going to run our cowsay command. I clear this. Let me save the pacakge.json file. And now if I use npm run to run this particular script, so npm run cowsay and bingo. Yeah, you can see that it worked. This feels a little better than the solution before, but it's still some additional work that you'll have to do for each and every local install. This is where NPX comes in. NPX is a CLI tool that comes bundled in with NPM. It lets you run your local packages without any shenanigans. So NPX first checks whether the command exists in your path variables and also in your local binaries. If you have it in your local binaries, then it will be able to find it and execute it right away. So let's just do that. I'll use NPX and I'll run cowsay. So this works as expected. Now comes the best part. What I'll do is I'll uninstall the cowsay package from my project. So uninstall. You'll see that it's not part of the dependencies here anymore. So it's currently not part of the project. Now I'll try to run the package with NPX again. So NPX cowsay. Hello. It somehow still works. This is where NPX shows its true potential. What NPX does is instead of installing the package and taking up permanent space, it creates a temporary cache and stores the package binaries inside that cache. Once the execution is done, it clears the cached binaries from the system. This saves disk space and keeps your globals clean. If you want to test your packages before even adding them to your project, NPX is the way. Not only that, it can also run code that's available on GitHub. This is not something you'd normally do, but if you have a specific use case, it is possible. Yeah, that's basically how you can use NPX in your applications. A very good use case which I'm sure you must have come across is setting up your React project using Create React app. It doesn't make sense for us to install the library if it's only going to be used a handful number of times. So it's better to use NPX instead. So yeah, this was a pretty short video on the key differences between NPM and NPX. If you have any doubts or suggestions, you can put them in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.